Reddit questions or statements. It really depends. Most often, well, not most often, but quite often on Reddit, you do not necessarily find questions, but rather statements, things that people say, things that people just want kind of to get rid of. I'm just rendering something. This is the reason why we are here, on the phone. But it actually works quite well, and I've also seen me downloading the video then is also quite nice. I do hope that there is not too much background noise. I guess there is at least a little tiny bit, but I think it is going to be fine. It's going to be okay. It's going to be doable, So let's see. Let's see what we can find here on Reddit. Hopefully something amazing. Hopefully something that is worthwhile going through, something that, is good to talk about. But before I am actually doing so, I am going to check whether the stream is actually working. Because the last time it didn't work, I was actually quite pissed off, wasn't really happy about that. But I think that, yes, works quite fine, works quite good, excellent. The quality being excellent. And yes, the quality is actually indeed quite good, I'm not gonna lie. Actually, pretty fine, pretty good, pretty neat. And so we can move ahead and move on and do something. So, girlfriend of 2 years confessed and broke up with me. My girlfriend of 2 years, whom I shared many great memories with, came out to me as lesbian and broke up with me a week ago. We broke up over the phone, and it goes without saying it was tough. I've dabbled with Stoicism and Stoic principles in the past, and conveniently, can I use the mouse? No, not gonna do that. Where did I stop? And conveniently, only recently picked it back up. It is if the universe was preparing me for this very moment. I was confused and devastated. Well, for me, first of all, it is quite interesting to see that very, very often we human beings tend to, we tend to find and seek meaning in quite everything. If it is something good or if it is something bad, this is something that you can decide on. But very, very often there is just no meaning in whatever is happening, No matter what is happening, there is no meaning. But I do understand, though, that you basically could use that, this principle of us always seeking meaning and make life a bit easier and life a bit more interesting as well by just, it makes things more understandable, I would say, and we can understand things better if we think that there is a meaning, behind whatever the fuck we're facing, whatever the fuck we are just encountering at this point in time, This just makes it a bit easier for us to cope with and deal with in the end. I was confused and devastated. I don't know how else to say this, but I like women. This is a quote, apparently. Well, in the end, I'm not going to go through the whole one. There's still a bit left here, but I do understand that this might be, or probably is, very, very difficult to cope with and very difficult to understand. But in the end, and this is something that I thought about as well, and I also tried to really focus on as well when I was going through my breakup. I just really dearly hope that the other person is doing very fine. Even if this other person is just having intercourse with just a trillion other people. Who am I to judge that? Who am I to say that, this is not something that this person should be doing and whatnot? Who am I to wish this person, bad luck and whatever it may be? No, this doesn't make any sense. This was a person that I loved dearly from the bottom of my heart for an extended period of time, so why should I? The only thing that really helped, well, not the only thing, but one thing that really helped me was indeed focusing on the fact that I just hope that this person is doing really fine. And I still hope so. I do know a few things, and this person is again in a relationship, and I'm fucking happy about that. Who am I to be angry about that? I just really dearly hope that things are going to be quite fine. Something else that I have kind of realized through this thought was, never fucking ever talk about your ex in a bad way. Imagine that the other person is doing that about you. And I wouldn't like to have that. I wouldn't like anybody to talk negatively about me, that I did this, that I did that I was just bad in this or that way. Like, no, this is something between me and the other person. I am actually pretty looking forward to the next time I am having a girlfriend, and how I am then going to deal with that. Am I going to talk about the other relationship? Probably there is going to be some talk about that, but well, I have learned something, and the other person also learned something, and that is quite it. This is something in between me and this other person. Nobody else should kind of be in that space. Like, why should anybody, indeed? But how to deal with that? Well, in the end, as I said, I'm wishing for this person to just be happy about it. Well, there's actually, just because I'm seeing, there's the Stoic success story, batch, label, whatever. So there is actually advice from the author of this post. So I actually have to read the whole one. I don't know how else to say, but I like women. Part of me being wanted to break down and feel hopeless. Then suddenly I had a eureka moment amidst the storm, in which I remind myself of the wonderful philosophy known as Stoicism. Every part of my, that is okay, I replied. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to love you. I hope you live a good life. And this is exactly what I meant before. Like, just wishing the other person to do well, even if it might be pretty difficult sometimes. But just really hoping and wishing for this person to do well, and everything that was kind of connected to this person, their family and whatnot. Just really, really hoping from the bottom of your heart that it is going to be fine and it's going to be good, and that maybe even that they are not going to regret the step, and that they're actually going to be grateful that they did this step to break up with you, and they have been able to find somebody that fits them better than you do. Even if it is really something, when I think about it, it is something incredibly hard. It is something incredibly hard and difficult to admit and think about. And I don't know, kind of let this be part of your thoughts and part of your soul, that you just hope that you have not been the best, and that this person is going to find somebody better than you. This really can hurt your ego, but in the end, like, why not? Why wouldn't wish you? Or why wouldn't you wish somebody, especially this special person, that this is the case for their life and for their family and whatnot? Like, I don't know. Just makes my life a bit easier, to really be honest. Within seconds, I reminded myself that this would eventually happen, and that there is nothing I can do within my control that will change the present situation. Instead, I can save my dignity and act out of principle and not emotion. Yes. Very, 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 very important point. Whatever you're facing, make sure that you're acting in a way that you're not going to regret afterwards. This is one of the most horrible things, and I've encountered it, and I've seen it, and I've had to deal with it afterwards quite often, And especially if your body and mind says, do not do that, don't do it. I have made the mistake, and this is the reason why I'm telling you this. Quite often, my mind said to me, like, no, please don't do that. This is probably not going to turn out quite well, based on my past experiences, probably based on, me doing the exact same thing before, and it didn't turn out well. Well, guess what? When you do it once again, you're going to regret it afterwards, It's not going to be great. You're going to feel bad about it, especially when it comes to interactions with other people. At least for me, this is actually a pretty big part, like other people, and then them thinking about me in a certain way, or maybe in a certain other way after this conversation or after this interaction. It's been a week now, and I'm at peace. I remind myself every day that anything in life, such as relationships, depressive periods, and good days, are ephemeral, and we should probably something like, I don't actually know the word, but it's probably something like temporary, I assume. And we should never attach to anything. This too shall pass. And yes, in the end, nothing is permanent. Nothing. My body is not permanent, therefore I shouldn't be attached emotionally to my body as well. Just a little bit of a side note. Doesn't make any sense. It's not good. Don't do that. Especially when you're an athlete or into the whole fitness space. I understand it. It is a big part of my life and one's life then, but it is, things are going to change and things are going to be altering all the time. We are human beings. We live through certain things and we take hits, sometimes more, sometimes less, but this is just what life is. This is what it is about, period. Let's see, my wife's and mine sex drive diverge quite a lot, resulting in me being oftentimes dissatisfied and moody. Although I don't want to project these feelings onto her, it's difficult sometimes. What is the Stoic way for dealing with such unmet needs? Thanks in advance. Well, I don't know if this is very Stoic, but I would say thinking about the other person a bit more than about yourself, and thinking about the fact that, well, maybe this other person also feels bad about that. I cannot meet my partner's expectations. This must be, not a horrible feeling, but a pretty bad feeling. It's probably something that's not too nice to have and to feel and to know about. But first of all, this. Second of all, just thinking a bit more about it. Like, why is this the case? Why might this be the case? Also thinking about the other person, that like, why might this other person's drive not be as mine is? Well, there might be several factors. Maybe it is stress. Maybe it's actually being unhappy in the relationship. Maybe this just directs you into a very important situation or direction. Well, guess what? What I mean is, okay, maybe this just is kind of the symptom of a certain cause that you should actually really be working on, in terms of the relationship. Maybe it is due to them actually being dissatisfied with something pretty crucial, maybe the interactions, whatever it may be. There's so many factors, but maybe just not taking it as something like always personally and always just too serious, just taking it as a chance, taking it as a way and a chance to work on, and using this as something to just guide you towards something that apparently is pretty important, And I would really stick to relationships, by the way, just a side note, do not always be like quick to break up. Does not make too much sense in the long term, unless you clearly see it as just not serving you or the other person. Then like, why? Then there is some ads. Selling on Shopify, ? Make your photos stand instantly, okay, with a click. Try out our app for free. And there we can see a cut out image that is cut out in, it's actually, pretty well. It's not good either. It's okay, it's doing fine. I secretly want some people I work with to just fail in life. What is the Stoic way to approach this? Well, let me drink. For me, it is actually often pretty interesting to see also in my life. And it is indeed something that a good friend of mine made me think a bit more about. And it's actually also pretty important for me to rehearse that and think about that once again. What is the root cause of behaviors that I'm having or other people are having? We can find that most often there is a root cause, there is a cause for all these symptoms that we're feeling and seeing and whatnot. This is basically, by the way, also one of the reasons why I do not like Western medicine. Buy followers and views on bigfollows.com. Well, no, probably not gonna do that. Sorry to say that. Anyway, there often is a root cause for why we do things, why we say things, why we act in a certain way. And it is actually pretty interesting to figure that root cause out, figure out why we do that, why we say that, why, whatever it might be. And so what might be the root cause for somebody wanting another person to fail? Probably it is about dissatisfaction with one's own life, And I could read the whole post there, but I actually don't want to, it's actually quite a bit. So if this post sounds immature, I'm a teenager and I'm just sick of it. In Stoics, emotions like this, called passions, are the result of judgments and expectations. You seem to have an expectation that other people should be diligent in their work. Sure, it would be great, but the reality is simply different. So it is not reasonable to just stay angry that the reality is not like we would like it to be. Reminds me of amor fati. Love faith, or love your faith, which means that you should love your faith. Whatever happens at this point in time, you should love it. You should not merely accept it. You should not merely just be okay with it, but you should indeed love it. And you should want it not to be any different. It is very difficult, not gonna lie. It is a pretty interesting and cool concept per se, but very difficult to implement into one's own life because, well, just be okay with whatever situation you're facing. But I think does not really mean that you should not be working on solving this issue if you're having an issue, I wouldn't say that it is about that, wouldn't make too much sense actually. But doing everything you can, and then whatever the outcome is, accepting it and being fine with it, and trying to just love it even, and find the good parts in whatever situation you're facing, whatever you just might be facing in general. Yeah. Finally, you hold a mistaken judgment that them failing will improve your life in any way. It won't. You'll have exactly the same issues and problems whether they feel one way or another. Totally the case, You are probably not going to be off better when they fail. And I think you should really work against that. You should really work against this thought and maybe even support the other people's fame or success or whatever it may be, just because it is the right thing. And this is indeed something that I've been talking about back in the days, very early start of the podcast and the YouTube videos. What was it? I just lost my train of thought. Doing the right thing, yes. Trying always. But I do want to emphasize trying to do the right thing. And simply wishing somebody to fail, this is not the right thing to do, And doesn't make too much sense, Why should you? It's not going to make your life better in the real end. And you're just hoping for somebody else's life to be worse. Is this good? No. Is this the right thing? No. What is the right thing? Well, I would either say just letting this person just be this person and just work on your own shit and try to just be happy with what you have and what you can control. I mean, in some or the other way, you could basically, I guess, change somebody's success by doing certain things, but this is not going to be good. But in the end, you cannot control that either, which is another Stoic principle, You cannot control everything. And you should also not focus on the things you cannot control, because you cannot control them. You can't do anything about it. So why should you be angry about it? Why should you be mad about it? Why should you be sad about it? Like, why? Doesn't make too much sense. My personal realization about inner peace. Hello all, it's been a while since I posted here, but I thought I should share this. Maybe it could help someone. I am an angry person. I can be bitter and sad and every other kind of rampant emotion in the book. Since the beginning of my philosophical journey, I've always wanted to achieve inner peace, the feeling of permanent calm, but I've always fell short of it at every moment. But recently I had a thought while I was sitting down. By the way, this is kind of the beauty of life, I would argue. Sometimes we just come to certain realizations in very strange places, or just all of a sudden. Like, okay, yes, this is what it is. This is what life is all about. And just realizing it and seeing it, keeping up this way of thinking and keeping up this mood, this emotion is very difficult. Do not also necessarily think that this is something you just need to be having, need to be doing or whatnot, but yeah, anyway. What if inner peace is not the absence of rage, anger, hatred, or bitterness, but the accepting of it while pushing on to create positivity despite it? When I thought on this, it kind of made me smile, because it really is the case. A ton of things in life just have to do with acceptance. Besides the whole amor fati thing, just let this be something else, let this be an own thing, but really accepting things, which could also be tied to not being able to control certain things. Your anger and your own emotions, you can control it. It is a difficult process, I would say, especially in the midst of certain situations, certain situations that really make you feel a certain way and really make you just, explode. Very dry throat today because of whatever reason. I also slept very badly today because of my own fault, to be honest. It is always amazing, always a good idea to forget about your alarms, and all of a sudden you wake up because of your motherfucking alarm. Always nice, always great, I love it. Accept whatever it is. In the end, something that I have realized and I have seen is, if you are angry about something, if you wish something to be different and whatnot, is this making your life better? No, it's not going to make your life better. But accepting things and being okay with things and trying to live with certain things, this is, pretty good. By stepping back and looking at who you are, what you do, what your problems are, what you're facing at this point of time, accepting, it is what it is. Sometimes you can do something about it, and when you can, you probably also should, because it makes sense. But, by the way, also accepting that it is a process, and it's probably going to take time, and it's probably going to take a lot of effort to do so as well. So for me, it may be just being dissatisfied, maybe quite often. Yesterday was actually pretty dissatisfied with what I did this day, and just things. I can do something about it. I really can. On the other hand, it makes also sense to know those flaws that I'm having and accept those flaws that I'm having. And when I see this flaw kicking in, well, stepping back a little tiny bit, looking at this flaw and be like, well, oh yeah, I'm doing this thing again. I'm doing that thing again. There's something I know, okay, this is what I'm doing at this time. And naming it, well, calling it a name and noticing it, and then just returning to whatever the fuck you're doing, But being sure and know that you're doing this at this time, which I think can really help dealing with things, First of all, we have to see things before we can do actually something about it, which just really makes sense, but still important to notice and, well, to say, to point out. New to Stoicism, and I thought I'd share a Stoic moment I had today. No. Indifference. You should strive to live your life in such a way that you are indifferent to your shortcomings. With tasks, practice approaching them with no preconceived notion or attitude towards them. With obstacles, see them as stepping stones to larger, more meaningful goals. In times in which you feel as though nothing could go wrong, practice indifference, because something will always go wrong. It is how you respond that defines your character. Yes. And you should respond in a way, once again, pointing that out. You should respond in a way in every situation, and this is something I think to train, and also something that I need to focus on, that you're not going to regret afterwards. Always. we could be talking about doing the right thing. Sometimes it is a bit of a gray area. Just leaving the situation quite often is also a pretty good way to solve an issue and solve this problematic situation that you're facing. But in the end, also knowing that things are temporary, everything is temporary. Your life, your health, yourself, those people around you, everything is temporary. And this is, and basically, well, not should be, but it really is one of the reasons to actually be happy in life, especially when you are in positions like I am, and probably quite everybody that is watching that. We are or should be happy to live such a life. Period. But yeah, I think that I'm going to end the stream there. I'm going to upload it to YouTube. There's also going to be a podcast of this exact stream. So if you want to check it out, please check it out. Maybe subscribe to the Twitch channel, to the YouTube channel, to the podcast. It's on Spotify. It's quite everywhere. Where you are, it's probably also there. But yeah, I wish you a great day. Please have a good day. Make yourself a good day.